and welcome back. Till now, we have studied prose and poetry section. Now, it's the time to turn to section 4, that is literary genre, novel. What is genre? Genre is a literary composition characterized by a particular style, form or content. There are different literary genres like drama, poetry, fiction, etc. In 11th standard, we studied drama. In 12th standard, we have to study novel as a literary genre. Dear students, important note for you. The questions in this section will be memory based. Means the passage will not be given. So, you have to study this section thoroughly. You have to keep all the answers of this section in your mind. In the board activity sheet, in question number 5, there are the questions on section 4. This section 4 carries 16 marks in total. Today, we shall study 4.1 History of Novel. This 4.1 History of Novel has 4 marks in board activity sheet. How will be the activities on this section? Different activities can be asked like MCQ, match the columns, complete the statements, true or false, fill in the blanks, picking the odd element, selecting correct alternatives, chronological order, etc. Have you got it? In this chapter 4.1, that is History of Novel, we shall study origin of novel, meaning of novel, rights and development of novel, major novelists and their works, elements of novel and types of novel. In today's video, we shall study origin of novel, definition of novel, rights and development of novel, that is history of novel, major novelists and their works. Dear students, as I have already told you that the questions on this section are memory based. So, note down the given points, take screenshots or pause the video and write down all the points. First we shall see the origin of novel. Means when did it originate and why? What are the factors responsible for it? Novel originated in 18th century. Novel originated as the literary form in England after 1740. The English word novel is derived from the Italian word novella. The meaning of novella is new. Let us see the reasons of the origin of novel. In 18th century, there was the rise of the middle class due to the increase in trade and commerce and also because of Industrial Revolution. This was a newly educated class. In 18th century, the newspapers and magazines attracted a large number of readers from the middle class. These middle class people were new readers. These new readers had no interest in romances and tragedies. Then, who were interested in romance and tragedies? Upper class people. In 18th century, the number of middle class people was more. Why? We have already seen that due to Industrial Revolution and increase in trade and commerce, there was a large number of middle class people. These people wanted the realistic picture of everyday life. So, there was a need of a new type of literature that would express the new ideas of the 18th century. In such situation, the new form of literature emerged and this form was novel. The novel as a literary genre has a history of about 2000 years. There were some Greek romances, stories of ideal love and marvelous adventures. But the novel took a new form in 18th century and it became most popular. Now let us see the reasons of the popularity of this literary form, that is novel. 18th century has gifted English literature two literary forms. Which are they? The periodical essay and novel. You know what is essay? Essay is a piece of writing that gives the author's own argument. And periodical means a magazine that is produced regularly, that is weekly, monthly or yearly. And novel? 18th century was the age of intellectual, sentimental and realistic plane. The realistic picture of everyday life and problems of common people were depicted in the novel. And the speed of machines could provide a time to the educated middle class for reading and discussions about the books. Middle class people wanted a literary form that depicted the picture of everyday life and problems of common people. And in this period, drama and poetry were fading away. So, novel became very popular in 18th century. Today, it is recognized as the most dominant literary genre. Let us see the meaning of novel now. A novel is a relatively long narrative fiction. Fiction means events and people that are not real. Novel is a long narrative fiction, but it describes intimate human experiences. It is normally in a prose form. In older times, some verse were also like novel. For example, Virgil's Eclogues, Malory's Morte Arthur, and Geoffrey Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales. These works had the contents like novels. Have you got the meaning of novel? See here, I again tell you the activities on this section are memory based. There is no passage. So keep all the points in mind. Take the notes of all the points in your copy. And more important, read all these points again and again. We have seen the meaning of novel. Now let us see what does a novel narrate. A novel narrates a story embellishing it with more details of time, place, nature, people and their minds, their gestures and activities. Embellish means to make a story more interesting by adding details that are not always true. How is it embellished? See here, if it is a historical novel, then all the places and characters are taken from history. Their dressing, their activities are ditto like of that time only. So it appeals the minds of readers. Novel creates the picture of the society of that time. Novel makes life easy to understand than drama and poetry. Novel has a history of 2000 years, but it became prominent in 18th century. It has become very much popular in modern era. Now, we shall see the major novelists and their works. The world's first novel is The Tale of Genji by Murasaki Shikibu. It's a Japanese novel written in 1010. The first European novel is Don Quixote by the Spanish writer Miguel de Cervantes. This novel was published in two parts between 1605 and 1615. Now we shall see the major novelists and their novels in 17th century. John Bunyan's The Pilgrim's Progress in 1678, Aphra Bain's Orinoco in 1688, Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe and Moll Flanders, and Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels. It's a famous satire. Now, other novelists of 18th century. Samuel Richardson wrote Pamela or Virtue Recorded and other novel Clarissa. Both are epistolary novels. Then Henry Fielding, Lawrence Stone and Tobias Smollett are other novelists. Again, the tradition of novels was enriched by many other stalwart novelists such as Charles Dickens, Walter Scott, Nathaniel Hawthorne, Horace Walpole, Thomas Hardy, Wilkie Collins and H.G. Wells. Then 20th century novelists. The novels in 20th century have modern topics, innovative styles and techniques and widened angles of the views. They wrote political, social, psychological and other modern issues in their novels. They widened the circumference of the genre. These novelists are E.M. Forster, James Joyce, Joseph Conrad, Henry James, George Orwell, Graham Greene, D.H. Lawrence, William Golding and Anthony Burgess. Now we shall see some immigrant novelists. What is the meaning of immigrant? Immigrant means a person who has come into a foreign country to live there permanently. These immigrant novelists are Salman Rushdie from India, Luis Naipaul from Trinidad, Kazuo Ishiguro from Japan. How can women lag behind in this field? Now we shall see the famous novelists and their novels. Evelina, the novel of manners by Frances Burney. Gothic novels by Anne Radcliffe. A novel based on Science of the Age, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. These novels are landmark novels. Jane Austen has been ruling over the minds of the people through her novels. Emily Bronte wrote Wuthering Heights and Charlotte Bronte wrote Jane Eyre. These Bronte sisters created their own place by their incomparable works. Mary Ann Evans, Alice George Eliot wrote the novels reflecting psychological insight. Virginia Woolf is the pioneer of the stream of consciousness technique in English novel. Agatha Christie wrote novels based on crime. Her two evergreen famous detectives are Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple. Harper Lee, Margaret Atwood, Toni Morrison and Alice Walker have elevated the tradition of the novels further to prosperity. Now we shall see the Indian scenario. The first novel in English written by an Indian was Rajmohan's Wife by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. It was serialized in The Indian Field. Mulkraj Anand, R.K. Narayan and Rajai Rao wrote on the nationalistic virtues or social issues. Anita Desai, Nayandara Sehgal, Arun Joshi, Manohar Malgaonkar changed the current of Indian English novel through their work. Amitav Ghosh, Vikram Seth and Upamanyu Chatterjee ameliorated the Indian novel in English by adding new features to it. Ameliorate means to make better. Other novelists like Salman Rushdie, Arvind Adiga, Arundhati Roy, Kiran Desai and Kiran Nagarkar have given the dazzling performance. Thus, the tradition of Indian English novel has undergone a vital change since its birth and it has undoubtedly very bright future. Now we shall see the meaning of novella and some famous novellas in English. The word novella originated from the Italian word novelli. It is a type of prose fiction. Fiction means events and people that are not real. Novella is shorter than novel and is longer than a short story. It is a well-structured, still short narrative. It is satiric or realistic in tone. It usually focuses on one incident or issue. There are one or two main characters. It takes place at a single tradition. Some famous novellas in English are The Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, The Turn of the Screw by Henry James, Billy Budd by Herman Melville, Death in Venice by Thomas Mann, Seize the Day by Saul Bellow, Pearl by John Steinbeck. Here is the end of part 1. In the next video, we shall see the elements of novel and types of novel. So keep watching.